Please introduce yourself and provide a little background. When did you come to the islands? And what was your path to becoming a superintendent?
Well, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Lopez. I've been on Lopez now for 6 years, and my path was an interesting path here. I actually came out here prior to being hired here, and just came out and did my superintendent internship. And I joked with the former superintendent then that I didn't want to be a superintendent until I was ready to retire, closer towards retirement. But obviously fell in love with the place and just felt like I aligned really well with my values, my beliefs, and just where we were going as a system. And so I felt I could contribute and keep us moving in that direction and support some of the amazing things we're doing here. I still, kind of pinch myself from time to time because it is a bit of a surreal situation. It's from time to time being on a small island and, having some of the exceptional things and staff to work with. It's just been great.
I don't think I saw myself years ago sitting in a superintendent's chair, let alone sitting in an administrator chair. I fell in love with the whole idea of education early, and I spent several years, 16 or 17 years, teaching English, a couple history classes, and some criminal law classes. But I continued to go back to school, and so I ended up with a couple of graduate degrees, and with one of those degrees was an administration degree. And it just so happened that in the school that I was teaching in, there was a vacancy, and the district didn't get what they wanted at the time, and it was about the middle of July, and they came and talked to me, and all of a sudden I was a principal in that school for 2 years. And at that point, I decided I'd stay in this position as far as administration, but we had, of course, visited Friday Harbor, and we took a chance, and it was the only thing I applied for. And luckily, the superintendent at that time saw something in me, and that was this is the beginning of 14th year. So almost 14 years ago, I took a chance, moved to the island, began working in the high school and in the middle school, and it was just a fit. And I loved working as a principal at Friday Harbor Secondary Campus. And there's been several superintendents that have been here since I've been here. And just this last year, I started giving some consideration that maybe it might be time in my career to consider a move into this chair. And so I took the chance, said yes to it. Last year's superintendent gave me a year of internship and prepared me for it. And so here I sit. I don't think ever in a million years did I think that as I took over superintendency, we would be in the middle of a pandemic. That was a unique twist to it. So that's a journey that I took. I've been an educator pretty much all my life. It just happens that even though some reluctant to move into administration, it's been some of the best decisions I've ever made.
A little bit about myself is I've been here, this is starting my 7th year. I actually came to Orcas Island from Oklahoma. I was serving as an assistant superintendent at that time. Prior to that, principal, assistant principal, 5th grade teacher, and actually started my career off as a custodian working my way through college. So I've done a little bit of everything all the way through the system. But we made that transition here with my family, and it has been a wonderful transition to Orcas Island. We absolutely love it here, and my family has thrived here.
Thank you. I've been teaching at Paideia for 11 years. All my kids have gone through Paideia. And last year, I became principal of our little school.
What are the key challenges that need to be addressed in order to continue quality educational programs and services for our youth while reducing the risk of the spread of COVID-19?
I would say the biggest key challenge we have that we're facing, much like all of our schools in our area, is just the unknown. Nobody's really been through a pandemic, and I don't have a nice 3-ring notebook sitting on my shelf that's been collecting dust for the last 20 years. So it's an interesting piece, is that unknown factor, and that unknown factor impacts us across the board. Everything from our delivery instruction, resources that we might be able to tap into, budgets, staffing, and just any type of resource that we would normally access is definitely one of our key issues and one of our challenges in front of us. That being said, we're taking a group of professionals, our teachers, and we've trained them for decades to interact and engage with kids on an in-person level, and now we're telling them they've got to be on a screen, and that is just a huge challenge for staff. And there's such a steep learning curve for folks, and it's for everybody. Everybody's seeing this learning curve and trying to navigate the best they can some sort of learning plan or model that is creating credible and realistic learning opportunities for kids, and impacting kids in a way that helps them engage at a level that keeps their learning moving forward and keeps them just enjoying learning. So it's a unique experience right now, and definitely one that causes us to rethink why we do what we do and how do we make it better, and allows us to really kind of we've taken the stance where we're just trying to give opportunities for teachers and allow some instructional freedom there, and that's been neat to see, just the creativity come from teachers. And it's amazing how creative teachers can be when they're trying to connect with their kids and get new learning into the kids' worlds and into the families' lives. So that's been an amazing process, an amazing experience already. That being said, we know it's not going to be perfect. We know we're going to have bumps, and we know we're going to have to listen to parent feedback and staff feedback and student feedback just to kind of make the adjustments that we need to get better at what we're doing.
The biggest challenge is just making a remote setting both meaningful and effective. And that's really difficult. I believe most of us already believe that in-person education, that model is the best model when it comes to teaching and learning. The interpersonal interactions that we have gives us the ability to read nonverbal cues, and teachers can relate in different ways. And we believe that in-person model is the best. So the challenge is really to ensure that we're intentional and creative in our planning for remote setting. And, I guess we want to try to recreate in a virtual world what we have in an in-person setting, and that's pretty difficult. And often the technology makes it even more difficult. Technology does not mean efficiency in all situations. In fact, we find that sometimes tech concern or tech issues become a red herring that move us away from what we really want to do, and that is focus on engagement and on the content. So the key challenges right now is creating a meaningful program, because we have made the decision to go remote. So our key challenge is addressing that concern and that need. That being said, though, we also want to return to an in-person program at some point in time. And we have developed a hybrid plan. We can probably talk a little bit more about that later.
Key challenges for Orcas Island School District, really it comes down to, I feel like, 3 items. One is the health and safety of our students, that safety of following the proper protocols from the Department of Health, and the health side of it, mental and physical health going forward. Another critical issue for us is equity for all of our students and removing those barriers that we're seeing. We work hard to do that, and it's not that we're just doing it during this time. It's actually a lens that we look through all the time. The other aspect, as far as key challenges during this time, is support for our families and our staff. So really that professional development for not only our staff in how to run our management system, but also for our families to understand how to log in and how to support their children at home. This is the critical points for us.
We've been doing a lot of research on how to protect our students and during this time of COVID, and some of the key challenges that we see need to be addressed during this time is just the wearing of masks will be very tiring for students. And we've been considering different ways of how to help our students be able to get through the day. Now, we haven't even experienced a whole day with students in the classroom yet. So one of the thoughts we have is coming up with very frequent times out of the classroom outside where they can take their masks off so they can get some fresh air and get a break. Some of the other challenges I see is as we have to keep socially distant in the school is that we're taking away a lot of the fun activities that they do. Even like playing games or breaking into groups and being in small clusters doesn't seem like really a smart way to do things this year. So we are considering how to incorporate some of the fun of learning while we still socially distance and keep those masks on to keep them safe. We have, lots of parents who don't want their kids to have to wear masks. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers look like this year as we head into fall.